So please allow me to introduce our guest speaker today, Ms. BX Bartley. She's a speaker, an educator, and facilitator who inspires audiences to think about questions of holistic life planning, future possibilities, transformation, and equity. BX earned their bachelor degrees in sociology and gender and sexuality studies from the University of California, Riverside. And after their undergraduate studies, they went on to pursue a master's degree in student affairs and higher education. This knowledge fuels their passion for social justice and advocacy for folks with identities on the margins. They are the founder of Trust Your Rhythm, where they offer services as an educational consultant. BX creates imaginative and empowering workshops for graduating students so they can build a sustainable roadmap and thrive in life. Their key, their key ideas relate to growth, agency, and progress. BX describes themselves as a visionary using passion and intuition as a form of liberation. In addition to running a business, BX continues to work full time while balancing side hustles. When they aren't on the go, they enjoy spending time with their dog, nature, music, and delicious food, to name a few. BX is excited about working with you and empowering and all of you to empower you to begin your entrepreneurship journey. So without further ado, let us all welcome BX.
Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you so much, Vivian, for that wonderful introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen so we can dive into the presentation, but I'm really excited to be here with all of you. All right. Okay. Let me move this. Perfect. All right, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Perfect. All right, so I'll try to find somewhere to put you all. All right, so today I'm going to be talking to you all about the Startup Sustainable Roadmap. As was shared earlier, I will be diving a little bit more into my story and how I started my business and how I'm balancing that in with my 9-to-5 in addition to my other side hustles that I do. So to give you all some more insight into those side hustles, one of is I'm a soccer referee. So on the weekends, I referee soccer games. That's a way that I just am able to bring in additional cash flow, and it actually keeps me active, which is fun. The next thing is that I also work as a senior client success coach with a business called Speaking for Profit. So I really deal a lot with making sure that our clients are working towards their business goals, supporting them, holding them accountable, and all of those pieces. Those are some of the things I do in addition to running my own business as well as work at 9-to-5. All right, so a little bit about today's flow. So for us today, I really wanted to ground us through some affirmations. So we're going to go through that after this agenda slide. The next thing is I'll be telling a little bit more about my story and my secrets to integration, or at least I feel what helps me as I integrate things. Next, we'll be going over the 4 keys for building your sustainable roadmap. After that, you'll have a chance to actually begin building your own roadmap. And in that activity, you'll have some time to think about your business mission statement. You'll also be able to think about some goals that you want to set for Q2. For folks that might not be familiar with language of quarters, quarters really just refer to about 3-month periods that kind of break apart our year. A lot of business owners really use in order to really fine tune how they're approaching their goals and what they're working on from quarter. So really, we're about to end this first quarter, which was from January to March. And the next quarter is going to be beginning in April. So we're at a perfect time for you all to start crafting some of those Q2 goals. And then after that, we're going to also think about daily success actions that you all can commit to that will get you closer to the goals that you all want. After that, we'll get into some Q&A, and then that will pretty much end our presentation for the day. One thing that I did want to center before we move forward is this quote, and it says, "Don't let anyone convince you that your dream, your vision to be an entrepreneur is something that you shouldn't do. What often happens is that people who are well-meaning, who really care for us are afraid for us and talk us out of it. This is Kathy Hughes, who was a founder of Radio One, which is now referred to as Urban One. And this is just something that I really want to center. For me, being a first-gen American, as well as a first-gen entrepreneur, it's really easy for folks to say, oh, you want to start a business? I don't know about that. I don't know if that's the best route you can go. I don't know if that's something you want to do. But knowing if that's something that you really dream about and something that you see yourself accomplishing, don't feel like that is something to talk you out of pursuing that or figuring out how to engage in that. So I just want to leave that as some inspiration, as something for you all to really sit with as we navigate through this presentation. All right, so now we're going to get into some affirmations. I invite you to say these with me. You can continue to be on mute, but just say these with me so that you all are feeling the vibrations and feeling some of the energy that we're calling in. So the first thing is, I am smart and successful. I didn't see enough lips moving. So I am smart and successful. All right. The next one is, I am the perfect match for my ideal business. Again, I am the perfect match for my ideal business. The next one, I am an award-winning CEO and entrepreneur. I am an award-winning CEO and entrepreneur. All right. I am constantly manifesting my business dreams. I am constantly manifesting my business dreams. I am thankful for each and every person that contributes to the success of my business. I am thankful for each and every person that contributes to the success of my business. And lastly, I am progressing towards my goals with confidence. I am progressing towards my goals with confidence. Affirmations are such an important part of the way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we motivate ourselves, and really accomplishing the things that we want. So you all are going to have a document that you all will receive after this. You will receive these affirmations. Feel free to repeat them whenever you need to, but know that when you're cultivating your business and starting your business, it's your business, right? So you really have to go into it, take that initiative, figure out what you want, and having some of these affirmations can really help you be in the right mind space, as well as the headspace to be able to do what you need to do. So just wanted to ground us and start us off with that. So nice to meet you all. These are some things and some pictures about me just to make it a little bit more personal. So as Vivian said, I do enjoy being in nature. So you have a nice picture of me in front of some water. I went on that day, a beautiful picture of my dog, who is one of my best friends. We always spend time together. So wanted to show her there. And then I also am a really big fan of street art and different creative expressions. So I wanted to also center that for us today. All right, so let's dive into my business creation story, right? How did I end up creating Trust Your Rhythm? What led me to do this? How did I really engage in that? And for me, it was really about monetizing my voice to support communities I value and love. Now, the way that I got to this was very interesting. I recently graduated from my master's program. We were in the pandemic. There was a lot going on. I had recently gotten a new job. I was navigating a lot of those transitions. And as I was in that phase, one of my close friends and who is now a mentor ended up establishing a business called Speaking for Profit. And when I saw that business idea, I was like, okay, I mean, I think I've spoke before. I can do public speaking. I've done this in the past. Let me figure out a little bit more about what they're talking about. And as I began to, one, learn about what they were doing, but then also reflect on my own strengths, realized actually speaking is a passion area for me, and really being impactful and motivating folks and figuring out ways to help them tap into their dreams is something that I am passionate about. So what I did was I really had to invest in myself. This might sound daunting, but the course wasn't free, right? So I had to pay something in order to enter this course and really learn how could I go about monetizing my voice? How could I learn about my audience? How could I learn about really embarking on a business, right? That's centered not only consulting, but also speaking like I'm doing today. So really it was about investing in myself in order to have access to community and be able to network with other like-minded individuals. So this is something that you really want to make sure that you're creating space for as you journey into entrepreneurship, is connecting with other like-minded folks, right? Do you have other friends who are thinking about business ideas? I think you all are doing the awesome thing of being in this course, right? You're already in that space where these conversations are being had, but this is a way that's going to continue to fuel that mindset and fuel that dream to seem more possible than what it might have seemed before. The next thing is that I wanted to create a business that felt less like work and more about passion and impact. So for me, I noticed that, okay, I have my 9 to 5. That's great. I'm going there. I'm doing what I need to do. But that sometimes can feel a lot like work, right? It doesn't feel necessarily like I'm tapping into my passions. It doesn't necessarily feel like I'm really impacting folks in the way that I really dreamed and really hoped for. So in being able to create my business, I really wanted to focus on centering that impact and figuring out ways to work around that impact and knowing that the money will come after that. The last thing is I had to really lean into imperfect action. How many perfectionists are there in the room? All right, I see one person. I see you. Okay, so we all kind of battle a little bit with perfectionism, right? And it's hard to say, okay, I need to start this business, but I want this to be perfect, and I want that to be perfect. I want this other thing to be perfect, right? And sometimes as you're working through all those stages, you never actually start, right? Because it's never quite to your expertise of what perfect is. And I really had to lean into imperfect action as a business owner. Even what happened with me and Vivian being connected, this was imperfect action, right? Reaching out on LinkedIn and saying, hey, I have this offering. Would you be interested? Would you want to get on a chat and maybe talk further? And from there, we were able to establish our relationship. And now I'm able to be here with all of you, right? So it started with that imperfect action. But honestly, I can tell you all, I looked at that message probably more than 10 times. And I was like, this is not quite what I want it to be, or this is too simple, or this is that, or this is this, right? But once I sent it, it was effective, right? Because I took that step and I did that action. So just remembering as you're embarking on your journey, it's okay that things might not look always the way you want it to, but what matters is that you're putting yourself out there and you're trying. And a lot of times folks really value the fact that you're trying and they value that consistency. And another piece is that folks will be able to see the ways that you've improved, right? Sometimes you have to really get some skin in the game in order to figure out what you can improve moving forward. The last thing that I really want to address is that as a first-gen entrepreneur and first-gen American, I had a lot of imposter syndrome, right? I'm trying to start this speaking business. I don't really see a lot of people who look like me have speaking businesses or have businesses of themselves. For me, it was a lot of that silencing imposter syndrome, which is why I really wanted to start with those affirmations. I'm smart and successful. I'm an award-winning CEO and entrepreneur, right? I'm constantly manifesting my dreams. I'm the perfect match for my business. These are different ways that I'm able to silence my imposter syndrome and really embrace CEO-hood and be able to say, like, I am a CEO. I do have a business that's impactful. I do have a business that matters, and this is how I'm leaning into it. So these are some of the things that I really journeyed on in order to really create my business. And honestly, it's imposter syndrome, unfortunately, doesn't really go away. I still deal with imposter syndrome, right? Sometimes it comes up in different ways in how I'm trying to approach things or reach out to folks or however that may come across. So just knowing that it's something that is you're going to be constantly working through, but it's important to always show up, always give your best, and see what you can really envision and really bring to fruition for your business. So that's really how I embarked on creating my business. Of course, over time, there are different things like filing the paperwork. Right now, my business is under a sole proprietorship, so it's not quite an LLC, but I do have my employee identification number. So these are all things that you can do by looking on the tax websites and through IRS and all of those pieces. Filing an EIN is something that's completely free. So if you ever get on the sites that's like, hey, you should pay this to get your EIN, you're on the wrong site, right? Doing that paperwork is very seamless and it's very easy to do, and it's also free. So just knowing that those are some of the steps that I took to embrace my business journey. One quote that I want to center for us is success isn't about how much money you make, it's about the difference you make in people's lives, right? So like I said, going back to that impact, I really wanted to focus my business on the impact that I was making and connecting to that why versus focusing on the profit. We've seen this a lot even with other successful businesses, right? I mean, how many folks have an iPhone? Right? A lot of folks got iPhones, right? But iPhones, why was that they wanted to make a very user-friendly phone, right? That we would enjoy. And that why is what drives them forward and continues to have so many folks saying, I want an iPhone. I want that. I want that to be my main thing that I go to because of the easeability, right? So focusing on that impact more so than the profit when you first start. All right. All right, so these are some of my secrets to integration. What has really worked for me. So as mentioned before, I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades, right? There's a lot of different things that I have my hands in. And one thing that I do, these are the 3 things that I do that I feel are my secrets that really keep me going, they keep me sustainable, and they keep me focused on the goals that I have. The first thing is I prioritize. So I really try to focus on the essentials that are needed to move forward and complete those things first. As a CEO, it's very easy to get distracted. There was actually a recent moment where I got distracted about 2 weeks ago. I've been working on posting more content to LinkedIn in order to, promote myself, share more about what I do. And LinkedIn sent a message like, hey, would you like to learn about LinkedIn marketing? And I was like, yes, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to market on LinkedIn, right? And then once I took the course, I realized, yeah, okay, this isn't completely what I'm looking for, right? And at that moment, I had to pivot, realize that this isn't really essential to what I need for my business, right? So it's important to be able to prioritize the different things that are going to move yourself forward and move your business forward, right? So for me, I might not always be able to engage in speaking engagements all the time, right? But if I carve out my schedule in a particular way that I know, these are the dates that I'm available, these are the that I need to do in order to reach out to folks so that I can be brought in for speaking engagements, that's what I want to prioritize each week, right? So that I'm moving closer to that goal. If I know I need to work on more offerings, if I need to work on more of my social media content, right? That's what I want to prioritize so that I'm moving my business forward, right? So prioritization is very important so that you're at least hitting a little bit of something every week, every day. That's going to move you closer to your goals. The next thing is community. As I spoke of before, it's really important to be with folks who are also like-minded, right? For me, being a senior client success coach, I've been able to be around folks who are constantly creating their businesses, thinking about their ideas, figuring out ways to accomplish their goals, but also surpass their goals, right? And for me, it's been very critical to be around those folks, to hear their goals, to be motivated by their goals, right? To see other people talking about, okay, I'm trying this product. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to see what the market says, right? Then I'm like, okay, that gives me an idea of something I can try, right? So with you being able to be around like-minded people, it doesn't seem like you're the person who's always talking about business, right? Now you're around a lot of people who are always talking about their business ideas, and you can get more of that energy and more of that fuel from them. One thing about this is that it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you join a course that is paid for. Facebook is a really great place that has a lot of different groups connected to a lot of different things. So sometimes even on Facebook, you can find folks who might have a similar focus as you, who might be trying to launch a business, who might be to go into entrepreneurship, and you can connect in those spaces. Once you join those groups, introduce yourself, say a little bit about yourself, almost like what my bio was today, include some of the things that are little fun facts about you, as well as some of your goals that you're working towards. And then from that space, sometimes you can get a lot of very fruitful connections, which can really lead into your network, right? So really being around that community of like-minded folks really helps me stay motivated and helps me keep working towards my goal and seeing my business as achievable and not something that's impossible. The next thing is that I schedule rest and joy, right? So you all are probably like, how? You do a lot of things. There's no way you're resting and getting joy in the midst of all of that, right? But I actually am, right? So it's really important for me to track my time and schedule time to spend time with my dog, go on some long walks, dance and listen to music every now and again, because these are things that bring me joy, right? So it's important for me to really be mindful of how I'm scheduling and setting up my time throughout the day. So usually I'm an early bird, so I'll wake up early in the morning. And when I wake up early in the morning, that's when I'll go on my walk. That's when I'll be able to spend some time with my dog. That's when I might listen to some music, right? If there's little pockets of time, I'll infuse that as well to listen to music. Sometimes even, I don't know about y'all, but I love listening to music and getting work done. So I'll also do that, right? And work on different tasks and also listen to music. So knowing that throughout your business journey, in order to really stay sustainable, you have to make sure you're getting in that rest, you're getting in that joy, you're being able to spend time with people you love and care about, that sometimes you have to take time away from in order to accomplish your business goals and your business aspirations. So see, these are some of my secrets that have really helped me. All right, so now we're going to get into our first point when it comes to some of the 4 keys for building a sustainable roadmap. So the first thing is you want to seek clarity and alignment. The first thing is you want to identify your why, right? We talked about Apple. Their why was really that easeability, right? Having a phone that folks would love to use as a smartphone. So really you want to know your why. And your why is going to keep you motivated through the mundane task of running and maintaining a business, right? There's things that as a business owner, I don't really like to do, but I have to do them, right? In order to move my business forward and get to where I want to be. And because I'm such an early business starter and an entrepreneur, there's some things that I don't have the cash flow to necessarily hire help for. So I do have to be the one who is the social media content person, the speaker, the one who's reaching out to people, right? The one who's also like promoting myself, right? There's so many different positions that you have to hold. And then when you bring in more of that cash flow, you can look into, okay, maybe I can hire someone who's going to do my social media. Maybe I can hire someone to help me reach out to folks. But until you get to that point, your why is really going to keep you motivated. And my why is the fact that I really want to impact and empower communities on the margins, right? And when I say margins, I'm really talking about folks who have identities that are not really the mainstream, right? These are folks who sometimes have limited resources. These folks who sometimes need a little bit more visibility and a little bit more representation to know that they can do the things that they dream of, right? So your why is going to be critical and serve as your guiding light as you're working through whatever your product is and whatever your business is. The next is you want to identify the problem you want to solve, right? So it's very important to know that great businesses solve problems that people experience with ease and efficiency, right? So for a lot of us, let's say we need energy, right? A lot of people might drink Red Bulls, they might drink Monsters, they might drink coffee, right? There are all these different things that have been created to give you energy. And these are business concepts, right? We don't look at them that way, but they are business concepts and they've been put there because they know the problem is people don't have enough energy. So they're trying to give you something that's going to give you more energy, right? The problem is very critical to ensuring that you'll always have the clientele for your business, because you can have a great business idea, right? But if no one's interested in your business idea or it's not quite solving their problem, you're not going to have clientele for your business, right? So thinking about how important it is to know what the problem is you want to solve and how you're going to market that to your target audience, right? Sometimes you'll see coffee around in the morning, right? It might be paired with donuts, right? It might be paired with these different things that drive as incentives to get you closer to where you want to go. The next thing is gas. I think that's something we probably all can relate to in some way or fashion currently right now. We all need gas, right? Especially if you have a car and you need to get from different places or across town. Gas is a problem that we have, and there's businesses out there that solve it. Another thing that you really want to note when it comes to your business, you don't have to have an original idea. So many businesses are doing the same thing. How many gas stations do we have that all give gas, right? How many different companies make dark caffeinated soda? So many different companies, right? But it's all about the taste. It's about who they market to, right? It's about how they're serving the particular problem of their clientele. So you really want to be able to identify that problem you want to solve. The next thing is you want to identify your industry and focus. So now that you have your why, you have your problem. Now you want to figure out what industry do you want to market to? Where does your clientele actually live? What does your clientele look at, right? If maybe for me, right, I talked about connecting with graduating students. So my clientele is probably a lot of colleges, right? It could be high schools a little bit, but it's more colleges. So I really want to figure out how can I get in that space? How can I be seen within that space so that folks know that my services are available and they can help solve the problem that they might be experiencing, right? If it isn't a particular industry, let's say your product is more expansive, then choose your focus area, right? And figure out how to connect with the client so that they're hearing what they need to hear so that they're connecting with your product, right? I think earlier I was talking with Janice about social media, right? If you're trying to connect more with folks who are younger, maybe being on Facebook might not be the best place, right? Because they might be on TikTok, they might be on Instagram, right? Dealing with reels. So how can you connect more so that you're seeing and you're explaining your product on these platforms so that they're seeing your focus and being able to tap in with you, right? So it's really important that when you're first starting off, you want to seek that clarity and alignment. Why am I engaging in this? What problem am I attempting to solve? And where does my clientele live? Is it a particular industry? Is it a particular focus, right? And how can I be able to market to them and make sure that they know about the benefits of being part of my business, right? And the benefits of getting the products from my business. So that's the first. The second one is all about seeking knowledge and support. So the first thing you want to do is increase and expand your knowledge. Now, as a business owner, you are telling others you are an expert with the problem you are solving. So continue to provide the best service that you can. It's important to make sure you're honing your expertise, right? So you want to make sure that you're increasing your knowledge by reading books, you're reading articles, maybe you're joining different courses. You might even be researching, right? Like if you're going to do a dark caffeinated drink, let's say, what is going to be different about yours, right, from Coca-Cola? What's going to be different about yours from Pepsi, right? I know there might be some folks in the audience who love Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is just a little spin, right, on dark caffeinated soda. So thinking about how some of these different things are going to be coming across and how you can kind of make your business and your product stand out, right? So it's very important to research, what are other people doing? How are they connecting with their audience? What are some things that I like that they're doing? And what are some gaps that I see that they're missing? And can I really use those gaps to make my business and my product stand out? The next thing is you want to really intentionally network, right? So your network in your community are your net worth as a small business owner, right? So oftentimes these will be your first really promoters. These will be your first supporters of what you're doing. And a lot of times these folks that are within your network, they're a lot more prone to be able to support you. They're a lot more prone to say, hey, have you seen Janice's product? I think you would really love Janice's product, right? Because they know about you, they know about the work that you do. And because of that connection, there's a little bit more love in the way that they're going to be sharing your products, sharing your business, and hoping to really advance you and where you want to go. So knowing that building your network is not just about what it can give to your business, but it's also about that support system it can also give to you, right? So like I talked about before, being around like-minded people, this is going to be very important when you get into some of those hiccups as a business owner. You have folks that you can bounce things off of. You have folks that you can talk to and really get support with, which really kind of leans into the last one, which is ask for help. I don't know about y'all, but it's daunting sometimes to ask for help. Right? It can be a little bit difficult, right? To say, hey, I don't really know this, or I don't understand this, or I need help with X, Y, and Z. And that's okay, right? It's okay to not know everything. It's okay to ask for help. And just remember that as a business owner and with all businesses, no one makes it alone. Right? You might see someone at the top as being a CEO, but a lot of times there's a lot of other people who have supported them to get to that point, right? There's a team of people around them that are really helping them stay focused on their goal, but also helping them reach that goal. So know that as a business owner, it's okay to seek help. It's okay to ask for support. It's okay to ask people questions and figure out ways to pick people's brains about things that you might not be so clear on, right? And this could be a mentor. This could be a family member, this could be a friend, this could be a freelancer, right? As we talked about before, maybe you have some of that cash flow and you're like, I actually really need help with content creation because I have no idea how to make a TikTok. Like I just can't make it, right? So I'm gonna need someone to come in and really give me that support. And it's okay to ask for that. And there's ways that's going to enhance your business and help you move even further. All right. Our third tip is start small and be consistent. So the first thing is you want to commit to 1% daily improvement. So this is really going to tie into our activity later where you're going to be thinking about some of those daily success actions that you can get to. But doing a little bit every day will get you a lot further than not doing anything, right? So it's easy to fall into the perfection trap, which we talked about earlier. I want it to look like this, it has to look like this, or it's not going out, right? But remember that imperfect action is better than no action at all, right? If I would have sat on my hands and said, you know what, I can't send this message. There's something about it that is just not working for me. I would not be here today, right? Talking with you all. So it's important to really lean into that imperfect action, go for it, and just stay as consistent as you can and try to do a little bit each day. A little bit each day will get you a lot closer to the goals that you want to achieve for your business. The next thing is you really want to build a strong business image. So you really want to look at your favorite form of media and use it to introduce your business as well as yourself. Now, if you're choosing to use a platform that you've been active on for a long time, this could be Instagram, this could be Facebook, this could even be LinkedIn, right? If you're active on those different sites, you might need to reintroduce yourself, right? Because before folks are like, oh, that's just my friend over there. They don't have a business. They just post for fun, right? But you're like, no, I actually have a business. I have these goals that I'm trying to accomplish. So it's really important that you reintroduce yourself, right? So folks know like, oh, okay, now I know BX actually helps graduating students. BX actually helps business owners, right? They help entrepreneurs. This is someone so that if someone's ever like, I don't know where to go, but I need help doing X, they might think of you, right? Because you've been telling your story on your social media platform. So thinking about how that can come across and how that can really work to establish your image as a business. And as a small business owner, this is something that can definitely be hard because it takes a lot of that consistency. It takes a lot of that commitment to the 1%, right? Making posting every day, making sure you're engaging and responding, right? If folks comment on your right? Whatever those pieces are so that you're nurturing your community as the time goes on. But more that you post, you can really reintroduce yourself. You can also establish your expertise. And you can also let people know the type of clientele that you're looking for and sometimes even find your clientele. Lastly, you want to set and accomplish goals, right? So goals provide a greater vision that will ensure that you're in alignment and really connected to your why. So as you're really sitting down and thinking about the goals that you want to work towards for your business, think about how they connect back to your why and think about how they connect back to your overall business mission and your business vision, right? So how is your goal going to get you closer to the impact that you want to create? And really the best way to do this is to set weekly goals, monthly goals, and quarterly goals, right? To ensure that you're always progressing towards your business goal and your business vision, right? And the way that this will work, it doesn't necessarily need to be a whole different list of goals on every single page, right? But your quarterly goals can be your overarching large picture goals. Your monthly goals might be a little bit smaller of those quarterly goals, right? That if you accomplish those things, you're working even closer to that quarterly goal that you have. And then your weekly goals are really going to be committed to how you're getting closer to that monthly goal, right? So if I know that I want to have about, I don't know, let's say my quarterly goal is for this next quarter, I want to have 3 speaking engagements. Monthly, right? I know that I need to be getting closer to getting on calls with folks, connecting with them, sharing more about my business story, doing a lot of those different pieces, right? So that I can get closer to actually getting a contract to be brought in. Before that, I need to commit to actually reaching out to leads every week, right? I can't take any weeks off, right? Because if I don't reach out to leads, I won't be able to get on calls, right? And if I don't get on calls, I won't be able to get my speaking engagement, right? So knowing that it's a little bit of a domino effect of how you're kind of scaffolding these different goals that you're setting. So those are really the main things that you need to do. Start small and be consistent to keep building, right? So you really want to have a snowball effect, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit until it gets bigger. All right. So one thing that I wanted to share here, because consistency can definitely be hard to really engage with, is this wonderful quote by Drew Barrymore. So I pray to be like the ocean with soft currents, maybe waves at time. More and more, I want the consistency rather than the highs and lows, Drew Barrymore. And this really talks about that, going back to that perfection. I know y'all are going to be like, okay, when are you going to get off perfectionism? I can't let it go, y'all, because it's something that we're constantly navigating with, right? And constantly working through. So knowing that sometimes when you lean more into perfectionism, you're going to have a lot more highs and lows. There's going to be points where you're like, yes, I'm feeling really good about what I'm doing. I'm feeling good about my content. I'm feeling about who I'm reaching out to, and you're going to do it. Bow, bow, bow. Get it all out there, right? And then there's going to be those goals where you're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it. There's something that's just not right with this message. And then you're going to have a lot of lows, right? And folks might not hear from you. They might not be able to engage with you, all of those pieces, right? But if you focus more on being that consistent clashing wave, right? You're always coming in, you're always on schedule, you're always doing your thing, right? It's going to be a lot easier to get your business out there, a lot easier to get folks to know about what you're doing, a lot easier for you to even get into your own rhythm, right, of being a CEO and confident in what you're doing. So knowing that it's important to be consistent. And with waves, right? Some waves are big, some waves are small, some waves are somewhere in the middle. And that's okay, right? That's a little bit of how your consistency is going to show up. So sometimes when I'm posting on LinkedIn, might have a post that does really well. And then the next post, not so much. And then the next post, not so much. And then another one's a little average. And then it does well again, right? But what I'm showing to my clientele and my audience is that I'm remaining consistent, right? I'm continuing to let them know about my story. I'm continuing to let them know about what I offer, continuing to provide value, right? And that's going to be really important in telling that story. That's what your clientele wants to see, right? A lot of times when you go to a restaurant, right? If you go to your favorite restaurant and they've changed the whole menu, you're going to be like, what is going on? I come here because it's consistent. I come here because you have what I'm looking for. And you want to be that same kind of place for your clientele. So thinking about that as you navigate consistency. Some of these are just kind of pointers and gems that I wanted to share with you all. So the first one is it will be hard, but it will be worth it, right? So remember, starting and maintaining a business is hard work. Consistency will go a long way and make the journey a lot simpler for you, right? But knowing that it's going to be hard if you're a student, if you have a family, right? If you have another job, if you have other things that are pulling your attention, it's going to be hard sometimes to really be able to sit down, carve out that time to really engage with your business, right? But figuring out ways that you can be consistent, giving yourself a schedule, right, is going to be very important to help this be a lot simpler for you. So if you can take your thought process out of it and just make it automatic, you'll be able to engage with this so much easier, right? And you won't have to have that stress of like, oh man, I need to create this content. You already got it created. You're just ready to post it, right? Thinking about some of those ways that you can call in a lot more ease in your business and how you set it up. The next thing is that this is your business, right? I shared this before. This is your business. So remember that you are the CEO. You decide how things will go and what actions are needed to get there, right? So don't lose sight of your vision or your why, right? So when you start a business, there's no boss looking over your shoulder saying, hey, you need to do that and you need to do this. No, you're the boss looking over your shoulder saying you need to do that and you need to do this, right? So what are different ways that you're really going to be holding yourself accountable, but also making sure that you're creating a business that you enjoy, right? And not creating a job, right? So that's a really big piece that sometimes can come up is you start to create a job more so than a business. That's something that is liberating you, that is giving you more access to freedom, that is giving you more access to your purpose, right? So thinking about how that will show up. So don't lose sight of the fact that this is your business. This is what you have cultivated, what you dreamed of. And now it's about leaning into a way to really bring that vision to fruition. Lastly, you want to celebrate your progress, right? It's really easy to focus on what still needs to be done, but don't lose sight of all the progress you're making along the way, right? So take time to acknowledge and celebrate your wins, right? If there's a moment where you're like, hey, I actually posted content all week, celebrate that, right? Whatever that looks like, that could be spending time with maybe your family and your partner that you haven't been able to spend time with because you're like, leave me alone. I need to post this content because this is my goal, right? Or whatever those different pieces are, right? So making sure that you're tapping back into these people who are still loving on you, supporting on you, and really making sure that you're working closer to your goals. So it's really important to celebrate your progress so that you're giving yourself that momentum to keep going. All right. Now, our last tip is courageously share your mission and your business, right? So, the first thing is you really want to identify your business mission. So, create a clear and concise statement that communicates what your business does. And this statement typically goes like this: I help blank person do what and solve what problem, right? So this is really tying back to that first point, right? Identify your why, identify your problem that you want to solve, and then identify industry, right? And you really want to make sure that you're communicating that to your audience in a clear and concise way. So you can also think of your business mission almost as your elevator pitch, if you for your business. The next thing is you want to promote your business, right? So people won't know if you don't tell them. So you have to get comfortable promoting your business and spreading the word, and not just promotion in a way that's, oh, look at me, this is what I do, but share the value, share your vision, share the impact that you want to create, right? And when you're doing promotion, know that sometimes it can be hard as a first gen entrepreneur, really leaning in promotion. But promotion is not a bad thing, nor does it have to be something that is sleazy, something that is very salesy, right? But it's really just about communicating what you do and making that folks have a clear understanding of what that is, right? So for me, I might be sharing things about a speaking engagement that I might be doing, right? And that's not necessarily me being sleek. about my business, but it's sharing something that I'm proud of, something that I'm very excited to engage with, but it's also showing my audience that, hey, they're out there doing speaking engagements, right? So it gives them a little bit of that light bulb of the things that I'm doing. Another thing that I might do is I might share some of my value around tips that I feel can help graduating students thrive. This is something that's letting folks know that I'm an expert in this field of study, right? And I'm an expert in some of the tips and tricks that I'm offering to folks, right? So you really want to establish that presence, because a lot of times when you're trying to reach out to folks and talk about your business, they might want to see some type of proof, right? Whether that is your social media, whether that's testimonials from clients, however those different things may come across. So never shy away from promoting your business and sharing about the work that you do, because that's the way that folks are really going to hear about it and know about it. The last thing is really lean into your CEO-hood, right? So embrace your new title as a CEO and the journey that awaits, right? So set your schedule, set your standards and your norms, and the success of your business is a direct reflection of the work and dedication you commit to it, right? So thinking about your schedule, thinking about the norms, right? For me, it's a really big norm that I schedule time for rest and joy, right? So every day of the week, I'm usually doing a lot of different things, but I try to have a day where I'm not doing a whole lot. And if I do have a few engagements that I might do the day, I try to end those engagements by 12 so that the rest of the day is set aside for rest and joy, right? This is a way that I'm continuing to propel myself forward, making sure that I'm not burning myself out, right? Making sure that I'm not depleting all the energy that I have. So it's really important to lean into your CEO-hood, right? Because again, this is your business. So you get to set up the schedule. No one's saying you have to work every day of the week. You could say, you know what, I want to work Tuesday through Thursday. That's what I want to work. That's when I want to get things done. So how are you curating your schedule to be able to do that and really creating the vision and the business that you want to have, right? So the focus is creating a business and not creating a job. So remembering that as you lean into your CEO-hood and you really embark on that journey. Now, I know you all might have been wondering, like, okay, you told me a little bit about the business mission, but can I see some examples? Right. So I'm so glad you asked. I have some examples for you all. So the first one is from Evolve Benton, which is the founder of Speaking for Profit and also my mentor. And this is someone who has a business that really helps folks engage in embarking on creative speaking business. So their mission statement is, I help diverse leaders get paid to speak and deliver educational consultation to companies around the globe, right? So there, I help diverse leaders is that blank person. What are they helping do? Get paid to speak and deliver educational consultation, right? And then what is that going to help them solve, right? And then what is that going to help them move towards? And that's going to help them be able to speak to so many people around the globe and be able to have not just a location bound business, but a business that's really international, right? And the reason for this is because of how advanced technology has been. Now there's a way for us to be able to speak, offer consultation, offer support from really anywhere in the world, right? So being able to lean into that and figure out ways to teach people to really tap into that. The next person is Sir Lex Kennedy. This is someone who does digital content creation. And their mission statement is, I help clients build their impact and audience engagement through short form content management, right? So theirs is really all about social media. How can they help business owners be able to use things like TikTok and Reels in order to increase the engagement that they're receiving, right? So again, it's that same pattern and that same format. Another person, Anthony O'Neill. This is a social media influencer and a business owner. I serve ambitious and purpose-minded people who are on a journey towards mental, spiritual, and financial freedom. Right? You really want to be able to paint that clear picture so that when someone reads your mission statement, they're like, okay, I understand exactly what you do. I understand how, if I was to work with you, how it might benefit me, and how might it help me really solve the goal or the problem that I have, right? For a lot of folks, TikTok is a problem. Reels are a problem, right? Figuring out ways to keep people engaged in social media. So if someone's saying, okay, I can help you build your impact, I can help you do your audience engagement, you're like, that's what I need. If you're someone who's more of like, I'm really trying to figure out my finances and how that connects to my mental and my spiritual well-being, you're going to read Anthony's statement and say, okay, I think this might be the person that I need to work with, right? So this is the kind of feeling that you want to give your clients as they're reading your business mission. And even as you're either saying it or even having it placed on your website or on your social media. All right. So these are some gems in order to remain sustainable. Again, I had to put in the celebrating your progress again, because that is such an important one. This is really something that is going to really help you with your momentum. And really celebration is a vibration, right? Same thing with affirmations. They're all a vibration that are going to get you closer to where you want to go and really changing your mind space that you're in as you're working towards these goals. So celebrating your progress, I got it on there twice. So I hope y'all wrote that one down. The next one is you want to engage in regular reflection, right? So have a business journal and use it to document your journey. Engage in monthly reflection and quarterly reflection at a minimum, right? This is really going to help you to know, how was last month? Okay, I set these different goals. Did I actually hit these goals? If I didn't hit these goals, why? What came up, right? Was it something around imposter syndrome? Was it something around maybe perfectionism, right? Was it just I wasn't feeling up to it and I didn't engage with that, right? So it's important to really engage in these regular reflections so that you're aware of what is going on and what is impacting you working towards your business goals, right? It's very easy to go a long amount of time and never think about it, right? And then before you know, like, I mean, it just didn't work, right? But you really don't know why it didn't work. You don't know what happened that caused it not to work, right? So engaging in that regular reflection is really going to help you be able to move closer to your goal, as well as kind of address those challenges and the resistance that's coming up along the way. Celebrate your progress. Y'all already know that one. The next one is schedule joy, right? So remember that you can't pour from an empty cup, right? As you put together your CEO schedule, don't forget to schedule things that bring you joy. It could be watching a show that makes you laugh. It could be spending time with your animal, your family, your partner. It could be having a really good meal, right? Going out and either buying a really good meal or spending time and really cooking a really good meal, right? Think about the different things that are really going to bring you joy and really keep you moving forward and keep you progressing, right? The way that you're going to show up as your best self as an entrepreneur is going to be taking that time for yourself, right? And that doesn't mean that it's pulling away from your business, but it's going to be making you a stronger and more aligned entrepreneur as you branch out and embark on your journey. So those are really some of the gems that I wanted to keep with you all and really pass on to you all to really hold on to and really engage with as you embark on this journey. All right, so before we get into the piece, I did want to provide some time for some questions. So I know that was a lot of information that was thrown at you all. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have at this time before we kind of get into the activity where you all will be able to create your business mission statement, set 4 goals for Q2, and identify 2 daily actions that you all can commit to for the rest of this year.
All right. Well, thank you very much, BX. Amazing content. And I am getting some messages here already that they are enjoying your talk. And I think we will have another follow-up conversation on this. So
yes, awesome.
yeah, and I love that there is a takeaway, an actionable takeaway, this exercise that you are doing. But for now, the floor is open to any questions, comments.
Yes. And also, I just posted a document that you all will be able to click on and have access to. This pretty much gives you the bare bones of what I discussed today so that you all have that. So definitely feel free to tap on that and be able to review that when you all need to. And it also has the business mission examples if you need that as we're working on this.
Yeah.
Yes, you all got it. I'm happy to be here.
Well, there's a lot of really powerful pieces of, advices that you gave. It's really amazing. And I love that you talk about the imposter syndrome, because in my years of, mentoring students, also in the corporate world, I think that is one thing that is stopping people from realizing their full potential.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we think that I can't do that, and we are stopping ourselves from what we can accomplish. So thank you for bringing that up in reflection, because we all know that entrepreneurship it's a cycle. It's act, learn, and then take action again. It's iterative. But if we cannot really spend a lot of time reflecting on our actions, we might end up doing the same thing. Thank you for raising those points. All right. So if the floor is open for questions.
All right. If no questions, I think you all are telling me you're ready to dive into the activity. So that's cool too. We can dive straight in. I'm ready.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I was wondering what you meant when you said first gen entrepreneur. Is that somebody who's starting? That's like your family members didn't start, or what do you mean by that?
Yes, great question. So yes, as a first-gen entrepreneur, you pretty much hit it on the head. It pretty much means I come from a family that no one in my family at this point has had a business. This is something that I'm really embarking on at the first time and really bringing my family and also to really understanding more of that process. So that's what I mean.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, great question. Other questions folks have before we dive into the activity?
Maybe actually, I just had a question. I don't know if it's a
Yes.
question or more of a comment, but like you talked about like mentors and networking, and what would you say one of the challenges was when you had to like go reach out to people, and you know, we don't handle rejection so well. We don't handle
Yes.
rejection so well. Of course, we've been taught like, hey man, don't self reject, but like, what is one of your tips or suggestion when you go reach out to your network or you're trying to build a network? Yeah, that was more of like a comment slash question, but yeah.
Yes. I definitely understand where you're coming from. And yes, that was hard for me. Definitely reaching out to folks and folks both within my network and outside of my network. I remember when I first embarked on reaching out to folks, some people I had a really great connection with, and I didn't even hear back from them. And for a while, I was really in my feelings. I was like, oh my goodness, am I doing the right thing? What's going on? Right. But I think the most important thing to remember is that it's not about you, right? There be a lot of different things that might be going on in that person's life. That might be, maybe they're not even at email address anymore. Maybe they don't check their LinkedIn, right? Whatever these different pieces are. So remembering that it's not about you, and just because they might not have responded or it might be a no, it's not necessarily a complete no, it's just a not yet, right? So figuring out where is that next person that you can tap into, and maybe how can you re-tap in with that person. I've had folks that have been like, oh my goodness, I'm just seeing your message, I don't even check this. And I'm like, oh, okay, whew, it wasn't me. But at that time, right, at the really heat of it, I felt like it was me and there was something wrong with my messaging. Maybe I wasn't clear, right? So trying not to take things personal and really just trying to focus on who is the next person that I can reach out to. Maybe you can spend some time reviewing your messaging to make sure that it's clear. I would say my main tip is not taking it personal, but I've definitely been there. Definitely been there.
No, I
Great
appreciate that.
question.
No, thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, I'm not quite at that stage yet. Not quite there.
Yes, that's fair.
But I know I heard you mention about like the product, you know, like
Yes.
you could think of like the best next can of soda or next best beverage. But what are you trying to do? Like how are you trying to solve the problem for your potential prospect or leads or customer?
Yes.
And as I mentioned to the professor and my classmates, like, yeah, I'm struggling. Like, hey, I'm trying to figure out this next beverage, this next how do I make it different? And I'm so focused on that.
Yeah.
And got a lot of input last week, and yeah, that's where I'm at. So yeah.
Awesome. I think another thing too is really trying to tap into the folks you do have access to, right? So if you have some friends, if you have folks who are on your social media, just put out there, right? Like, I'm thinking about creating this. Like, would you be interested? And see what folks say. Like, oh, I would kind of be interested, but I'm actually looking for this. Sometimes they'll give you the answer, and then you just have to create what they've told you, right? And figuring out a way to really package it back to them. So also never shy away from just saying like, hey, a random Facebook post, I'm thinking about this, what do people think? And see how people engage and see what information you get from there too. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, great question.
Hi, BX. Thank
Hi.
you for, I love
Yes.
your, everything you said resonates a lot of me. And I was like looking about the imperfection action. So how you figure out and how you work around this imperfection action, because sometimes you get burnout to like to try to do the things perfect or try to being clear, giving us our product or company or service to others. And for us is never good enough.
Right.
So how you like overcome this? I just would love to hear more about this from you.
Yes. Question. With the imperfect action, I think for me, it's reviewing it and saying, like, is it something small that I'm stuck on? That's a question I always ask myself. It's something that's really small that really, it's a pet peeve for me, but to someone else, would they really notice it? Would they really pay attention to it? Would it really draw them away from my overall message, right? So that's one question I always ask myself, like, is it just me or is it my actual audience? Who am I centering at this point? The next thing is really like posting it, right? Sometimes you post it and you see like, how did this engage, right? How did folks interact with this content? And if folks didn't interact so well, take that as a learning lesson, right? It's not necessarily something that failed, but it's more so something of like, okay, this didn't work. Now I want to identify why it didn't work and try to tweak that and reshare it again, right? So see your imperfect action more as like your trial and error period that you're really using to fine tune where your business is heading into. So that's something that I would really do. Again, I would also reference the point that I just made earlier. Test it on the folks you have access to. So if you have family members around, ask them like, when you look at this, are you getting what I'm trying to say? And if they're like, yeah, I get it, it's clear, you're good to go. You can post it. You don't have to worry about it anymore, right? So have someone that's there that can also check it, but also ask yourself some of those questions like, is it something small that's holding me back? Is my message really unclear? Is it just that I don't like the color? You know, like what is the thing that's preventing me from being able to put it out there? Yeah. Awesome. Great questions. Yes. That's a great point. Think of the MVP, right? So the minimum viable product, right? Don't wait for the perfect product. Sometimes you just need something that's going to kind of bring folks in, right? And that can be something that's very small, right? Something that's very minuscule. Same thing with your content. Sometimes you just need something that's going to bring in. Sometimes that can be sharing a little bit of your personal story. Sometimes that can be leaning into, hey, I'm at this workshop and I just learned about how to create my business and I'm really excited about it. Sometimes that can be a branching out point, right? For folks to be able to connect with you and want to learn more about, okay, you went to this thing, like tell me more about that, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you engage and really lean into your business. Great questions. All right. Any other questions folks have before we dive into the activity?
I was just going to ask about this imposter syndrome again. Is there a place that you go to when this is the blockade that you're having? Because I mean, it's obvious we all do this.
Yes, definitely. Ooh, that's a really great question. I think when it comes to the imposter syndrome, I think being a part of the communities, like I mentioned before, has been really helpful. So I'm a part of a few different Facebook groups that are really around kind of entrepreneurship and things like that. And sometimes folks will post about experiencing imposter syndrome and ask for, different affirmations or different love to really help them to feel a little bit better about where they're at. And I've seen that to be really fruitful for folks and really be fruitful even for myself to read some of the things people have shared. Again, tapping back into affirmations, right? Say that you're that award-winning CEO and entrepreneur, right? Say that you're constantly working towards the dreams that you want to manifest. So sometimes it's also the way that we engage in self-talk to ourselves, right? That's really going to help us in moving forward and moving closer towards our goals. So I would say those are probably the top two things that I do. In addition, I also go to therapy. So I'm really big on promoting therapy for folks. So sometimes talking with a counselor or a therapist about the feelings that you're having and where those are coming from, right? A lot of times the reasons we're feeling like we're an imposter are not invalid reasons, right? It's just more so how we're talking to ourselves and loving on ourselves to move past it and move through it. Yeah, great question. All right.
We have any other questions? If not, I guess we can move on with the exercise.
All right. So it's time for us to dive into the activity. So definitely feel free to engage with the document I shared. I did notice that some folks just popped in, so I'll share that again for you. The document, again, is something that just kind of gives you the main bullet points of the slides that we went through today. And then it's also going to give you a little bit more insight into this activity that we're going to be doing. So really, now it's the time for you all to engage in some action. So hopefully when you complete some of these things, you'll have a little bit of a roadmap of where you can go and how you can start moving forward in either establishing your business, or really maybe you're not ready for that business, right? So you might not have your business mission, but this is a really great time for you to maybe set some of those goals that you want to focus on for this next quarter, which a quarter again is just going to be from April to June. That's our next Q2 timeframe. And then identifying some of those daily success actions you can engage with. So I'm going to put on a timer for about 9 minutes. You can feel free to turn your camera on or turn it off, or leave it on, whatever you feel comfortable with as you engage with this. If folks need more time, I'm more than happy to provide some more time for us. And then if anyone feels brave afterwards, we can also share out what are some of those goals, right? So being in this class together, you all can continue to keep each other accountable, check in on one another, say, hey, Michael, didn't you set that goal about X? How is that going, right? Be able to really check in with folks and provide support as folks are working towards these things. So does that sound good for anyone? Anyone have questions before we start this? All right, I'll put on the 9 minutes. Ooh, let me go back. Cool.
And if you have questions, you could type it on the chat box or send a private message, either way.
All right, y'all, that's just about time. So I hope folks were able to craft some of those goals. If you have a business and are thinking about a business idea, cultivate that business mission statement, as well as identify some of those daily actions that you all can commit to get you closer to your goals. So are there any brave souls out there that would like to share some of the things that they came up with? You can either share your business mission, your goals, or some of your daily success actions, or all three if you're really feeling courageous to do that. So feel free to unmute and then you can feel free to share it with us.
I can see Michael. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, I'm gonna turn my video on. Hi. So I'm working with Paul, and for the business mission statement, we thought about something like we aim to make passionate and ambitious people discover new sports through a multi-sport event on the beach. And yeah, I don't know. And then we didn't have time to identify the 2 daily success action, but we set the goals. And so it would be like to finish the business plan, to create a website, to create the social media that we chose, and to find sponsors.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pauline, for sharing.
Thank
That's
you.
great. That's great. That's great. I think you have a really awesome game plan there. And I think that's definitely achievable to do by June. So best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Anastasia, am I saying that correctly? I think you're up next.
You're correct. So my business mission statement is to bring women a sense of well-being, confidence, and self-love by creating comfortable and timeless clothes made of premium natural materials. My 4 goals for Q2: find the suppliers, create the business plan, decide on distribution channels, and create marketing campaign. And 2 daily success actions: research suppliers and analyze distribution channels.
Okay, that's awesome, Anastasia. As you were saying that, I was like, I feel like I need that clothing right now. So that was great. So awesome job there. Yes, I love it. I love it. And then Emerald, I also saw yours in the chat. So I'll read that aloud for folks for the mission statement. I help conquer the stigma that mental health can only be resolved and strengthened with finances. So I think that's really great, right? So talking about mental health as well as how that connects to the overall well-being and then how that connects to finances. So I think that's awesome. All right, y'all, watch out. Y'all have some really great things under. All right, go for it. Cheyenne, I believe, if I said that correctly. Cool.
Yes, correctly. So my mission statement is empowers small business to be connected strategically and successful by providing personalized, affordable, and results-oriented marketing solutions. And my 4 goals is create standards on how to do things on my own company, trainee my team, update my website, and start to post on social media.
Love that. I love that. I love that. So I think that's really awesome. And creating more ways to post on social media will definitely be great to get more of that mission out there, help folks understand how connecting with you will help them get closer to that goal. So great job. Great job. All right. Anyone else want to share? Feeling brave?
I can go. So I'm a DJ, and first of all, like taking this class has really helped me kind of take it more seriously, kind of think about it in the business perspective of DJing. So my mission statement is to curate to the eclectic tastes of fusion, R&B, hip hop, house, electronic, funk, and soul, bringing people together from different genres and bridging the gap between different genres through interactive events online and in person. So some of the goals I have for Q2 of this year is to kind of establish more of a presence on Twitch and TikTok. I have a stronger presence on Instagram, but I really want to bridge out my platform. And so 2 daily success actions that I can take is to get used to this program called OBS and learning how to live stream better and optimizing content creation tools.
All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think being a DJ that's so cool because I think as you get more tapped into maybe the reels and the TikToks, you can do really shorts of like the ways that you fuse things together so folks can get a little taste of what you do. But I think that's really awesome, right? And figuring out ways to ingrain yourself more in the different softwares that you need to use and figuring out ways to just spread yourself out more there. So I think that's awesome. Great job. Great job. I see the chat too. All right, so I think we have someone else. This is from Philip. So helping queer, trans, Black, and POC entrepreneurs grow their business and success by providing them with an exclusive online selling platform to shine through the clutter of online businesses and corporations. So I think that is really awesome, Philip, and also very needed, right? As things continue to get more expansive, figuring out the way to really be able to market yourself to the right clientele, as well as different softwares that you're able to use. So I think that's really awesome. Okay, cool. Hey, y'all are on to some really great things. So I'm excited to see how all your businesses turn out. This is really exciting. Does anybody else want to share or feeling brave to kind of branch out? All right, Cynthia, take it away.
So for my mission statement, I wrote, we aspire to transform the perception of skincare by practicing inclusivity and catering to both men and women. We want to make a positive impact in the health and wellness of the people, providing efficiency and thoughtfulness in our products while committing to sustainability. 2 goals I wrote were 1, to create a website, and 2, to focus on engagement to build an online community.
Yes, that's awesome, Cynthia. I think that's really great. And creating your website, I think that would be a really great way to like get folks' like email addresses. Maybe you can have like a little newsletter, right, that you share out different tips and things like that. And then with your social media, just figuring out ways to further connect folks, maybe even looking into like a Facebook group or something like that where folks can share their journey. But I think that's a really great plan that you have. So great job. Cool. I see the chat. Okay. Cool. We have a question in there for you, Philip. So I think it's also a question and a statement. So I think what's really great about your mission, Philip, in particular, is that it's the social impact aspect of it, right? So I think that's very important, right? As we're creating our missions, figuring out like, how is it going to speak to our clientele? Right. So as you're creating that mission, are they resonating with it? Are there things in there that you want your clients to resonate with? A lot of times that can also help them to kind of see themselves in what you're saying. So great job, y'all. I think this is really great. Anyone else want to share before we move forward?
I can go. I'll write mine in the chat because I've been toying with the idea of opening a line of barbershops that are Filipino centered. So they're powered by Filipino barbers and they're located in, so it's a very niche market. They're located in Filipino towns where there's a lot of Filipinos. So my mission is for, and I already have a name for it, it's called Kuya's Clips. Kuya's Clips is committed to elevating the male grooming experience while sharing the unique Philippine culture and also modernizing the conversation about manhood. That's my mission. And I put some goals and actions there as well.
Awesome job, Jay. I think that's a really great mission and just overall plan that you have as I read through it. I think you're our first person so far to talk about a SWOT analysis, right? So that's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I think that's really important, right? As you all are even centering research about different areas. What are some of the strengths that you're seeing? What are the weaknesses, right? What is some of the opportunities that you can embark on? But I think this is really awesome. And I think it's okay to have something that's very niche, especially like, as you said, you kind of identified, the different areas that you really want to market to or set this up in. So yeah, I think this is phenomenal. And I think joining different Facebook groups is really going to be great to figure out ways that you can really expand that culture. And even as you're thinking about this, it could start very niche, but then how can that expand out into being something that every barbershop, right, has a little bit of this experience that you're creating within your space. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. Okay, folks, y'all did awesome. Anyone else want to share before we move forward? Cool. Well, great job, everyone. If you didn't share, that is totally okay. I hope you have at least created some of these different things and are committed towards working towards them over the next course of this quarter. Know that there will be some times where you might fall short, right? You might have that daily success action that doesn't quite happen, and that's okay, right? Give yourself grace. Shake it off and know that there's another day, right? To get back into it, to be able to re-engage and to be able to focus on that. So great job to you all. Another thing that I will give as just an additional tip. So I know we talked about regular reflection. So this would be a great time for you all to take out your calendars, right? And schedule some time to do something that I call a CEO reflection. And this will really be a time for you to sit back and engage and say, did I actually hit those goals that I set, right, for quarter two? So think about some time in June that you would like to schedule for yourself. This could be anywhere from an hour, probably no more than an hour, just for you to have a little bit of a conversation with yourself around your goals, what worked, what didn't work, what were some challenges and resistance that you ran into. But definitely take some time to schedule that so you're able to kind of loop back and see how you're doing. All right, so we'll continue to move forward. So I appreciate you all being here. Now is the time that you all, if you would be so inclined, to pull out your smartphones if you have them, and scan this QR code. This will take you to a little survey about my presentation today. You can give me some feedback about what you enjoyed, what you might have wanted to improve, some of your favorite parts. And we'll just be here for about 3 to 5 minutes. And then once folks are done, we'll move into the Q&A, and then we'll wrap up our time for today. If anyone needs me to post a link, please let me know and I can do that.
Would you be sharing your PowerPoint slide or your slide deck with us?
So the slide deck will not be shared, unfortunately, but you all do have the supplemental document that pretty much has all the key points from it.
All right.
Yes.
I think that would be good enough. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You got it.
All right. And I think Michael also posted something there, his mission.
Yes, well, I missed you. Okay, so while folks are filling that out, I'll go ahead and read this aloud and speak to it. So I lead clients on a journey of building a legacy in San Francisco by finding them a home which will bring them joy daily. So I think that is awesome, Michael, and that's a great way to phrase it. Because I think even as you said that, I was getting undertones of real estate, but I like the way that you framed it in such a way that makes folks really think about the joy that being a homeowner could bring, right? So I think that's a really, really great mission that you have. And it definitely spoke to me. So great job. Great job.
And for those who were not able to share, this exercise, this activity, I believe is going to really help you in preparation for your pitch event. You know, we're done with our business model canvas at this stage. So we are now preparing, we're heading towards the slide deck for the pitch competition. And you know how it is, it's only 3 minutes. So it's really critical on how are they going to communicate their mission and their value proposition. So this activity is very helpful.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. So yeah, you already have a little bit of a framework that you all can use. You can even figure out ways to fine tune that, right, as you're leading up to your pitch. But yes, definitely feel free to tap into that and continue to create it. And know something too, right? With you all being in charge of your business mission might change. And that's okay, right? So give yourself that grace, give yourself that flexibility. If you notice that you were serving a particular need at one point and now that need is shifting, it's okay for your business mission to shift as well, right? So just remember that at the gate. All right, I believe everyone's been able to do the survey. Please let me know if you need more time. If not, we can continue to move forward to the Q&A. So thank you so much to you all. It was an honor being here with you all and sharing a little bit about my story as well as some tips. This is my email here. Also in that document that I shared with you all, you have access to my LinkedIn. So feel free to add me if you would like to. You also have access to my website as well as my business email. So feel free to reach out with any questions that you might have. But this is a great time to ask any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask, and I'd be more than happy to answer them.
So while they were still thinking about their questions or formulating how to ask their questions. So let me ask, how do you celebrate your progress? Because I love that. I love that idea. Even when I was in corporate world, I always would like to do this little celebration of our little successes. So how do you do it for yourself, and how do you schedule joy?
Yes, that's a really, really great question. So for me, it's really embarking back on things that I really enjoy doing. So like we mentioned before, I really like being out in nature. So what I did was alternating weekends, I have something that's called my nature adventure. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, I fell off. So I haven't been really embarking in that as much as I'd like to, but it's on my calendar where I know that every other weekend is a time for me to get out and to explore and be out in nature, right? And that's something that really brings me joy, and it's a way that to really center myself and even engage in some reflection as well as I'm out in nature. So one thing that I do is I have like a standing appointment on my calendar at all times. Another thing that I notice that I like to do is watch movies. So I know how I said alternating weekends. On the other weekend, I'm watching a movie, right? So that's a time where a lot of us have access to these different streaming platforms, right? There's so many movies that are at our disposal, right? So it doesn't have to necessarily mean going to a movie theater, but maybe during that time, I'm taking some time, I'm spending time with my dog, we're chilling on the couch, and we're putting on a movie that we really want to see and engaging with that. Another thing that I'll do is sometimes carve out time to talk with family and friends. Sometimes that can get lost because I'm managing so many different tasks, but really being intentional in those conversations with them. So that's the way that I've really been able to kind of like schedule that joy in, is like having those standing appointments on my calendar. So I get that reminder, right? Like Google's going to say, hey, your nature adventure's coming up. And I got to be like, oh, shoot, I need to plan that, right? Or I need to think about what movie I'm going to watch. When it comes to celebrating my progress, one thing that I do is I really journal, right? So probably after I finish this talk, I'll probably journal about how I enjoy talking with you all, being in this space, sharing more about my story. And then later on this evening, I might do something that really brings me a lot of joy. I might play some video games. I'm a gamer, so I'll play video games and just enjoy doing that. Or me and my dog might go on a little nature trail walk that's not too far from my home. So figuring out ways of these little activities that bring me joy and are just a time for me to really be basking in that high that I'm feeling from the accomplishments that I've recently done. Great question.
Well, thank you for sharing your
Yes.
little secrets. I never thought of putting my little adventure into my calendar, but
Yes.
I'm learning. Yeah.
Yes. Schedule it. Especially if you're someone who feels like if it doesn't get scheduled, it won't happen. Put it in that calendar, right? Because sometimes just it being in that calendar gives you more of that greater commitment that you actually need to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Emerald is a question.
Emerald, yes, go for it. Oh, you typed it. Okay. When you journal, do you free write or do you ask yourself certain questions about the progress? Great question. So most times when I journal, because I try to journal on a weekly basis, sometimes it's more free form, but especially when I do my CEO reflections, that's when I ask myself very direct questions, right? So what worked over these last couple months? What didn't work over these last couple months? What were some of the challenges or resistance I ran into? If there was any resistance that I overcame, how did I overcome that resistance, right? What was my revenue goal? How much money did I bring in over this last period of time, right? How much of that money did I actually retain? Because that's a big piece too, right? Sometimes you bring the money in, but you might not have the money anymore, right? So figuring out what are some of those pieces as well. So when I do my CEO reflection, and I try to do that sometimes on a monthly basis, if I miss some of my monthly, then I definitely get it in quarterly, and that's when I ask those very direct questions. Great question, Emerald. Yes, you got it. Yes, Jay, open a bottle of wine, right? So it can be literally whatever that thing is that speaks celebration to you, right? If it's something that you're like, man, I haven't been able to get to the gym in a long time because I've been so focused on this. Maybe after you're done, you're like, I'm going to go have a really great workout because that's what I've been looking forward to doing, right? Or I'm really going to be able to drink that bottle of wine that I've been putting off because I can't mess with my headspace right now. I need to focus, right? So thinking about all these different pieces that you can really tie into and knowing that celebration is going to look different for all of us, and that's okay. Yes. Great questions, y'all. Okay, there's another one from Myra. Do you sometimes get overwhelmed? If so, how do you deal with it? Yes, there are definitely times that I get overwhelmed. Definitely when there's a lot of things that I'm managing. And I think for me, it's just really taking some time, breathing, right? Pausing, reflecting on what is everything that I need to do, and going back to that secret, right, of my integration of like, what is really the top priority? Right. Sometimes I'm starting to feel overwhelmed about things, and I'm really stressing about something that's not due for like another couple of weeks. But in my mind, it's like, I need to do it this week. I need to get it done this week. And then when I pause and really breathe and look at my list, I'm like, okay, some of these things can be put off till next week. These are the top 3 tasks that I really need to focus on, right? So sometimes just that reframing and recentering and that pause can really help you see that sometimes it's your own kind of barriers and boxes that you're feeling the pressure by, and not necessarily what the deadline or what the task is. So sometimes reflecting on that. Now, if there's ever a time where it's like, okay, everything is really due this week, right? Sometimes I have to be overwhelmed and still power through it because there's some things that I need to get done. But it's a great time to engage in some reflection. What happened? What did I procrastinate on that I could have maybe worked on sooner, right? That has led to this place. Right. So thinking about the lessons that you're learning from the situation that you might be experiencing, right? But always taking some time to pause and breathe, and then figure out what is my game plan and what is my plan of attack to get done what I need to finish. Great question. Great question. Other questions that folks have. I think I saw one. How did you go about pairing with a mentor? Great question. So for this, it's really something that can take on a lot of different modalities. I think for me, I've been fortunate enough to be able to connect with folks and have like more like in-person connections with them as well as virtual connections. Oh, so when the time, and I was like, okay, like I really like what this person is doing. I really kind of see myself in this person. Sometimes you got to do the imperfect action and reach out and ask and say, hey, I really appreciated what you did. Would you mind being my mentor? I think one of the first times I really embarked on this was in college. It was actually the RD of my building. And he was someone who I had connected with. We had a lot of different interactions with, and I was like, I think I want him to be my mentor. And most times folks are open to mentorship. That was something that I learned. But after just asking that question and shooting my shot, I was able to kind of see and develop what that would look like. Now, a mentorship relationship is something that's going to change in a lot of different ways, right? And it's really going to be about how much you both are able to pour to it. As a mentee, sometimes you're doing a lot more of the heavy lifting, right? Because your mentor might be busy. They might have a lot of other things that are going on. But once you tap in with them, they're always more than willing to provide insight, let you know about different things that they've learned. For my mentor that I have, my RD, we're still in connection. We try to talk every month. Sometimes it doesn't always happen, right? Maybe it takes a little bit longer. Maybe it's once a quarter, but every time those conversations happen, they're always fruitful. I always feel a lot of the love. I feel the support, right? So sometimes it's just going out and embarking and asking the question and really thinking about your why, right? What is it about this person that's really drawing to you, right? What is it about this person that you want to connect with? What is it about this person that you feel like take you to that next place, right? And knowing that in the relationship, it's about how you both are adding to it, because you don't just want to seem like a person who's like, this person has all this knowledge and I need it. So every time I see Vivian, I'm like, Vivian, I have all these questions. You see him again, Vivian, I have all these questions, right? But you're not actually like talking to, like, how is Vivian doing? How is Vivian's family doing? Is there anything that Vivian's working on, right? So thinking about all these different things that you can do in order to really help flourish that overall relationship that you have with the mentor. Great question. Okay. I see another question from Jay. So how did you come up with Trust Your Rhythm? What was your aha moment? That's a great question, Jay. So Trust Your Rhythm, I was actually meeting with someone who was working on creating my website for me. And in that meeting, Trust Your Rhythm was actually supposed to be my slogan. And when I was meeting with this person, they were like, I really like Trust Your Rhythm as like the business. Like I haven't heard that before, and it kind of like intrigues me. And I was like, really? Because that was supposed to be my slogan. I don't have a business name right now. And really my aha moment and the reason of why I was drawn to Trust Your Rhythm was I was really trying to connect back to my passions, and I wanted myself to be kind of visible and seen in my logo, right? So you might have heard this earlier, but I really like music, right? So that's where the rhythm came through. Thinking about that intuition, right? How are we tapping into ourselves? How are we trusting like the rhythm that we have, right? We're all unique in our own ways. And I think that uniqueness for me is the rhythm, right? And tying into that intuition, that's where the trust comes in. So for me, that's really where that came from. And then kind of giving more homage to like my African roots and things like that. That's why we have the drum and all of those pieces. So I really wanted to like infuse myself in my image and in my social media kind of content. So that's kind of where that came from. So really, really great question. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Janice
Matt.
said, yeah, no problem, no problem. And then Janice said, do you have a template we can use to reach out to a mentor? Oh, I don't have one right now offhand, but what I can do is I can create one for you all and then follow up with Vivian so that you all can receive that. Sometimes it can just be a really simple message. So I'll probably craft a few so that you all can kind of see different variations that you all can use.
And by the way, BX, it's a great question, Janice, and that's a good segue because now that we are done with the business model canvas,
Yes.
our students are connecting with the mentors through our Entrepreneurs in Residence program. And
Nice.
that's why I was actually sending you a private message earlier that I'm inviting you
Yes.
to be part of that group. And
Yes.
in that respect, we have the letter on how are you going to reach out to the identified mentor.
Nice.
But I would welcome any other template that you could share
Okay, cool.
to add to that. That is really the next step. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
We'll be
Yeah.
proud of that. We'll be so happy to have you.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Okay, cool. Perfect. 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 Okay. Any other questions folks have before we wrap up our time?
I love that you mentioned about the networking, intentionally network and use resources out there. And Janice posted earlier the ccsfstartups.com. That
Yes.
portal reaches out to many different universities and other resources. We call it an ecosystem, and you experience it as we both are entrepreneurs that it takes a village. And
Yes.
that is why I try hard to bring a lot of resources outside of City College to help the students with their ideas to get them into market. So please create your profile and try to utilize that because there's so many different opportunities there, even just immersion program or internship, paid internship, just to observe how this, the ropes of being a startup or the lifestyle of being an entrepreneur or even employment. And also like what you said, like-minded people who could be your mentor or someone who could keep that passion alive. So utilize those resources, and thank you very much for humanizing many of these concepts that we are discussing in class.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it was great. All right, y'all. So I'm going to stop sharing. I know we talked about earlier taking a little snapshot and photo. So I think it would be great if folks would like to come back on camera.
Yes,
We can take a little photo all together. I think that would be awesome.
All right, please turn on your camera. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, y'all. It was great being here with you all. I really appreciated it. So feel free to cheese. I'm gonna go ahead and have my camera. You see me, I'm in full fledged. All right. 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Awesome. Awesome, y'all. I think these are great. All right. Perfect. I think we got them. Vivian, do you need some more time to take some? Because I know you were talking about taking some.
Oh, no, I
Good.
did while you were
All
taking
right.
your phone.
Perfect.
Before
Perfect.
we let you go, thank you very much on behalf of our team here at City College of San Francisco, the Business and Management and Entrepreneurship Program. It is such a pleasure having you here today. And I know this is not the end. We will still, continue on with the conversation, and we would appreciate you supporting our aspiring entrepreneurs and startups here.
Yes, definitely, definitely. It was a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you so much for your attention, your time, and also being courageous to share some of your missions, your goals, and all of the actions that you all will be committing to. So I wish you all the best in all of the businesses that you all will soon found if they're not already found, right? So good luck to you all and wishing you all the best.